If you've been following Yaman lately, you've probably noticed something. The conversation has shifted. It's not just new scenes or new photos. It's bigger than that. It's about control, craft, and what kind of actor he wants to be in the El Turco era. In this video, I'll break down a key El Mundo interview excerpt where he explains his acting method, how he works on set, and why he's careful with media questions. And if you like clean, respectful updates with real signal, subscribe because that's exactly what we do here. This is not a plot recap. This is not a spoiler video. This is a behind the decisions video. Because the quotes that were shared from El Mundo aren't random celebrity talk. They're basically a blueprint of how John thinks about acting, and why El Turco matters in his career path. Let's start with the first big idea. How he gets close to a character. He says that to act, he needs to get close to the character and think about what he would actually do if he were that person. And that line is important because it's not about copying someone else's style. It's not, I do the same expression every time. It's, I enter the character's world. The way he explains it is simple and powerful. If he had grown up with the same dynamics, how would he react? What would he feel? What would he choose? That's basically empathy as a technique. And then he adds something even more interesting. You can take an emotion and interpret it in 1,000 different ways, but you have to choose the right version. That's a huge statement, because it tells you he's not acting on autopilot. He's not choosing the loudest version of an emotion. He's choosing the correct version for that scene, that moment, that camera angle, that character history. So when people ask, why is he moving away from rom-com comfort roles? The answer is right here. If you truly care about choosing the right version of an emotion, you eventually want roles that force you to stretch. Roles that require control, danger, pain, tension, silence. Not just charm and chemistry. And yes, chemistry is real. Rom-com chemistry is a skill. But he's basically saying, I don't want to live in only one emotional room. Now the second big idea, what he says about working on set. He describes acting as communication. Not ego. Not my way or nothing. Communication. He says you have to communicate to understand what the director, the screenwriter, and the producer want. And then he makes it very clear. He doesn't stick to one method. He doesn't get fixed on a single approach. That matters because some actors get trapped in a personal formula. They arrive with one performance, and if it doesn't match the director's vision, it becomes conflict. But he says the opposite. When he arrives on set, he does one thing, and if the director doesn't like it, he tries to understand what they want. That is a professional mindset. And then the most important line for this part. He's prepared for many versions. You have to be multifaceted. Think about what that means in the context of El Turco. Projects like El Turco aren't built on one mood. They require multiple gears. Intensity, vulnerability, physical control, authority, fear, courage, guilt, discipline. Sometimes you have to switch gears inside the same scene. So, many versions is not just a nice quote. It's a survival tool in serious roles. It also explains why the El Turco era feels different. Because if your process is built on flexibility, your career choices naturally move toward roles that reward flexibility. Now the third big idea, and this one is the most sensitive but also the most revealing, the media question issue. He's asked, what was the most inappropriate question you were asked? And his answer is basically, they're constantly asking inappropriate questions. And when you answer, you become defenseless, because your words can be distorted and disconnected from their context. This is not a dramatic complaint. It's a real problem in celebrity media. Because a full answer has tone, timing, facial expression, and context. But a headline can cut one sentence and remove the rest. And suddenly your meaning changes. So what he's really saying is, I'm aware of the trap. I know how the machine works. And if you connect that to the last months of noise, rumors, and misframed stories, it makes perfect sense that he would talk about this now. It's a boundary statement. Not, I hate interviews. Not, I won't speak. But, if you twist my words, you can create a fake version of me. And this is exactly why fans should care. Because it changes how you read future interviews, clips, and headlines. If you see a quote going viral, the first question shouldn't be, "Is this true?" The first question should be, "Is this the full context?" Now let's tie all three ideas together into one clear message. The message of this video. In this El Mundo excerpt, John Yaman is telling you three things. First, I act by entering the character's reality and selecting the correct emotional version, not the easiest one. Second, I work on set through communication and flexibility. I come prepared to deliver many versions. Third, I protect context because media can distort words and create a false narrative. And if you ask me what that signals about El Turco specifically, here's the clean answer. El Turco isn't just a project he promoted. It's a symbol of the kind of career lane he's choosing. A lane where craft matters, where range matters, and where public image has to be managed carefully because the noise can rewrite you. So instead of treating El Turco as just another release, the smarter view is to treat it as a marker. A marker that he's intentionally stepping into heavier roles that demand method, discipline, and control. Now I want to ask you a question because this is where the community becomes valuable. When an actor says, "I need to choose the right version of an emotion," what do you want to see next? More action? More thriller? More period drama? Or do you want a balance? Some light roles but with deeper characters? Comment your answer, and tell me your country too because I always want to understand where this audience is watching from. And if you want more clean El Turco updates, no invented rumors, no toxic drama, like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.